Okay, welcome back to the Success, Money, Marriage podcast.
Why do you always look at me when you say that? Like you're still shocked that we're married? You're like always goes, welcome back.
Where did you come up with that?
Because okay, if you go back and watch like I was watching today, every time you go, welcome back to our program, podcast, Success, Money, you look at me when you go marriage.
Okay.
Go back and look.
You're so weird.
I'm not.
You're so weird.
Go ahead.
Such a strange little girl.
Why do you
Your
look at
mother
me
told me
every
that
time? I know,
40 years ago. She said she's a very strange little girl.
Okay, all
very
right.
strange.
I just think it's funny.
I said, no, she's cute. She goes, she's cute, but she's strange.
If you go back, every time you say the word marriage, you look at me.
All right. Well, we are married. I guess that might be a reason.
Maybe.
It's a good thing I don't look at you when I say money.
Ooh.
Because I married you for your money. Anyway, I digress, or you digress, or we both digress. Anyway, so welcome back to the show, successmoneymarriage.com. Subscribe to the podcast. Remember, you get a new episode so you don't miss Dawn talking about all this crazy stuff every single week. Who would want to miss that? All right, so today we want to talk about something that's not really too fun, but it is important, I think.
Very important.
Yeah, as a couple in business, and that's when to let go, not of each other, but the business. You know, like when is it time just to let it go? And there are, you know, as an entrepreneur, I guess to quote the late great Kenny Rogers, you got to know when to hold them and
when to fold them.
Good job, young
Thanks.
Dawn. Good
Thanks.
job. This is why we call you Young Dawn.
We don't actually call me Young
No?
Dawn.
I thought we did.
No.
You got to know when to fold them. When to hold them, when to fold them. And, you know, it really is true. It's not a fun thing. You know, people talk about all the time, well, you never quit. You know, burn the boats. Just remember, people that say, burn your boats. You know, you got one, don't have a plan B. Just remember, those people have a yacht parked in the back of the island that you don't know anything about. They write books and say, yeah, burn your boats, but they got a plan B, believe me. Any smart person has a plan B. It just sounds really sexy.
It does.
No plan B. I'm going to fight or die. Yeah, that's really stupid. You know, like if you're surrounded, maybe surrender and take your chances. You know, I mean, it sounds very sexy not to, but sometimes you got to fold up. You got to fold up, and you got to take your losses and learn what you've learned, and put your tail kind of between your legs and start over, or start a new business, or you know. And it's not easy to do because people are always saying, no, never quit, hold on to your dream. Sometimes it's a bad business. Sometimes it's a bad deal, bad partners. We've had all these things, of course, over so many years, as everyone who's been an entrepreneur has had. So what's your take on this, Don?
Well, I don't think that you and I have ever needed to be motivated to burn the bridge or burn the boats. Or, you know, you and I, we've both been pretty self-motivated, but I definitely understand if, as a couple, if you're in business, you're going to hear that over and over with motivational speakers. Don't do that. But for me specifically, I have a harder time. I don't need motivation, but I have a hard time because I've invested so much time into the project, or maybe time and money. And so even though logic tells me to pivot and get out, my every fiber in my body says, you've put this much time in, we've spent this much money, we've done all of this, and I'm not quitting. And there's so many times that I wish I had just seen the light, you know, the writing on the wall, and it has said, look, we've been here before, this is what's happened. I have enough facts to say, let's stop, pivot, get out now. And I just keep going. I just can't give it up because I've put so much time. I just will remember probably 10 years ago, we started a project, an online. So y'all remember when American Idol first came out, and it was super huge, right? That was the first time reality shows were really becoming popular.
It was longer
than
that.
Probably, gosh, you're right. Probably so. So we had this great idea that we were going to start an online, sort of an American Idol, but it was called... no, I can't even remember the name of it.
It's like Speaker Idol or something like that?
Speaker Idol, that's it.
No, it wasn't Speaker Idol.
It probably was.
It was like that, though.
Yeah.
It wasn't Speaker Idol.
No, but it was something like that.
It was like American Idol for speakers.
Right.
But we called it something
American
else.
Speakers. Anyway, so we kind of copied the ideas of the logo and ideas of the way it was run. And it was an online place you could go, post a 5 to 7 minute video for speakers, and then you'd get your friends and family to vote. And then we would have a winner of the public speaking idol.
Right.
That was it.
Public speaking idol. Right.
And each month we would have a winner, and we had like $500,000 in prizes. At the end of the year, you could be the, one and only public speaking idol. And so we spent a couple $100,000, as I remember. It probably was more, but I only want to remember a couple $100,000.
Yeah, exactly.
And we just kept going at it. We kept going at it. The biggest mistake we made was we first had it free, and then we got hundreds and thousands of people sign up. Remember? I mean, everyone for free was doing it. So okay, I'm not going to do it for free. I've built the software, built the system. We've built the system, and so we started charging $7.
Right, I remember that.
Well, once we started charging $7, our subscription started going down. No one was up $7 for $500,000 prize money. And then there were monthly prizes I think we had. And this went on for like 18 months, 2 years before we decided to finally throw the towel in. And I just kept knowing because, first of all, American Idol was like at the top of its game. And I'm like, this is so much easier. People could post. And anyway, we lost a couple 100,000 because I wasn't willing to give up. And it wasn't that I wasn't willing to give up. It was more emotional for me because I had invested so much time and money. So since then, I've done it again. I just did it recently. I stayed in a business too long. I probably should have gotten out.
I kept telling you.
You did not. So, man, my point is it's easy to say, it's hard to do, especially as entrepreneurs, when you have an idea that's based on you feel like it's a really good idea based on your past experience and things that have worked. You base it on that, and you just keep going one more month, and then sure enough, it was 2 years and over 200,000, $250,000 lost.
Yeah, that pain just shot back. I kind of put that behind us, and then now you brought it all back up to the forefront. Thank you for that, Don. No, you're right, though, because it's like a stock. It's kind of like when we bought Twitter. Okay, we bought Twitter during the IPO and the initial offering, and we just thought that was going to be the biggest thing. And, of course, the President of the United States and everyone really got on Twitter. We thought, well, you can't even buy that kind of advertising. So we bought, I forget what we bought a share, but it was during the IPO, and we thought, well, we'll probably get rich off of this.
You're right.
And
Twitter, in a pretty short amount of time, I think we convinced ourselves.
Yeah, that was 10 years ago, maybe?
Went public, yeah. So then it went, yeah.
So we made a little money, but nothing crazy. I mean, nothing like it should have been. No. But we kept putting money into it, thinking
it's going to pick up.
It's going to pick up.
Well, look at Facebook. Look at
exactly.
All of the,
that's where we should have invested our money.
At the same time, people were investing in all these other social media platforms, and so we thought for sure, and I'm sure every person that bought Twitter thought the same thing at the time we bought. So
instead of Facebook, we bought MySpace, which of course did really well. So that was good.
We did not.
That's why I'm delivering pizzas now.
It's very similar.
In Atlanta, I'm delivering you pizza. So if you want a Little Caesars or a Domino's, I'm your guy.
So my point is that if you've done it in the past, recognize it, be aware of it, know that this is a habit that you might be in, and really try to make that decision before, sooner than later, and save yourself.
Yeah, don't throw good money after bad, good time after bad. Even to Don's point, you put so much of your heart and soul in these entrepreneurial ventures. You just have these big dreams, and we all do it. And if you're a real entrepreneur, well, I should say real entrepreneur, but if you're, I guess what they call now a serial entrepreneur, you've done a lot of things. You've probably failed a lot, and we sure have. And you just, but you get these ideas, you work day and night, you dream about it, you live through it, and it usually takes a couple of years to get the damn thing off the ground, no matter how small or big it is. Right. And then all of a sudden it flops, and you think, oh, no, we have too much. No, we got to prop it up. It's dead. It's dead, but you're still giving it CPR. And it's just, you keep propping, no, live. You will live. You're beating the chest of this thing, and it's like, it's dead. Let it go. Bury it. And you can't. It's so hard not to try to keep going.
I think if I look back now, what I would have done is probably hired someone to consult us on it. Get someone on the outside if you really don't know if it's going to work. And I think with Public Speaking Idol, our problem was we had huge success with growing our database for free. And it didn't occur to me that once we started charging a fee, we tested how much people would pay for that, and compared to what they could win, and the fact that people love putting their stuff up on YouTube and love watching videos. Look at what TikTok has done and Instagram Reels. This was way before any of this was popular. And so maybe we were just ahead of our time.
Yeah, let's look at it that way. Yeah, we were ahead of our time.
We should have started TikTok.
You know what? We're just geniuses.
We're just ahead of our time on that.
We can't adapt to this lower level of thinking.
But seriously, I think we should have gotten a consultant. We should have hired someone from the outside to be objective and say, okay, here's the reality, you guys. This is where you're at. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
That would be my recommendations. Get help.
Yeah, because you never know. I mean, again, you hear the motivational speakers, and nothing against motivational speakers, but it's always burn the boats. There's no plan B. It's like, it's just go full blast and make sure. I mean, you get obviously the concept is sound in that you don't want to be in a habit of retreating every time there's a challenge or some kind of issue with the business, but you don't always be thinking, well, I'll go back to whatever. But at the same time, you do have to protect yourself, because those people that are telling those motivational speakers or those friends or whoever it is that are saying, hey, go forward no matter what, don't have a plan B, they're not going to save you when you fail.
No, and I think, too, for entrepreneurs that are serial entrepreneurs like we are, and we failed so many times, that it's not hard work we're afraid of, and that's a good thing and a bad thing. I think we kept thinking we're hard workers, so the harder we work at it, the better it's going to go, the more successful it's going to be, and that just wasn't the case.
Yeah, it's not always the case, and sometimes you do have to look at it. Man, to Dawn's point, I mean, getting a third party that's a successful person or successful business person, maybe entrepreneur especially, just look at it and say, hey, look at it with fresh eyes. What do you think? You think we're kidding ourselves, or should we keep going? Should we give it another 6 months, or what is it, or should more money, or whatever the infusion might be? It's always time, of course. But it's more of a typically an emotional attachment to this dream you had.
Oh, it's not logical.
It's not logical, and that's if it was logical, it'd be easier. But an outsider can be more logical, be more objective, as you mentioned, and that's probably really good advice.
Yeah, either that, or a lot of times what we've done with the many times we failed is we just set a deadline. You know what? We'll give it 6 more months. If we haven't reached a certain dollar amount or a certain database increase, we need to call it quits, and then we just stuck by it.
Yeah,
so
it's not the easiest thing to do.
Maybe
because you got to fail. You got to admit that you failed. But that's part of being an entrepreneur at some level. Hey, if you're an entrepreneur,
you know
it
what?
succeeds
I
all
don't
the time.
mind failing, because we've done it so many times. It doesn't even. Well, it doesn't really faze me. It's just the time and money we put into it. Is that not wanting to fail? I don't know. I mean, it's not really the failing part that bothers me. I think the failing part is that, oh my gosh, we thought this was such a great idea. How could we have been so far off?
Yeah.
Because we'd had the success in the past, and we built it based on the success in the past. And I think maybe it's the realization that maybe I just don't have what it takes to come up with an idea that's going to make money anymore.
Well, one of the problems is, I think, is when you start hitting home runs. When you start,
Exactly.
you like, for us, or really, we're just kind of a typical story for successful entrepreneurs and people that have failed a lot too. You fail for a while, then all of a sudden, bam, you hit a home run, then bam, you hit a grand slam, then you hit another home run, then you hit another home run. You think every pitch you throw, I'm going to hit a home run on. Which is completely delusional. Like, you have no idea that this guy who's pitching now can throw a curveball you can't even see. Then you're about to get struck at the struck. But no, I mean, I'm Babe Ruth. I mean, come on. My last 4 in a row just seem they're in the lake. They're behind the tallest building in town. I mean, no one can outpitch me. No one can I can out hit anyone. And then all of a sudden you strike out and go, ooh, and then that was fluke. And then you strike out again, strike out a few more times. You go, oh, okay, maybe I'm not as good a hitter as I thought it was. And then, you start questioning yourself. That's
Great dose of reality, for sure.
It is. And that's the world. That's the rough and tumble world of being an entrepreneur. And, as a couple working together, you've got to ground each other. Because it's like, we've always had that where, I'll want to stick with it, and you'll say, let's put it to bed, let's let it die, and then the opposite, where you said the same thing, and I couldn't do it, but then eventually you try to arrive at some logical, sensible
compromise.
And like you say, maybe it's a deadline or whatever, and then you might be wrong and you might be right. You just don't really know. But that uncertainty, that uncertain environment that we live in as entrepreneurs is a choice.
Right.
If you want a certain environment, go to IBM and get a job, and they'll give you certainty as much as you can have certainty, or a company, not IBM in specific, but something like that where it's more predictable. The entrepreneur life is not for the faint of heart. I mean, you can be extremely successful beyond your wildest dreams, and you can fail the same way at the same level, and you have to be able to treat those two events about the same way.
Yeah, and I just think, continue having that conversation with each other as it starts to develop, and things aren't going the way you're going. What are we going to do? Are we going to get a consultant? Are we going to set a deadline? Is it a budget? Once we're at a budget, that's it. We're not going to do any more. So just make that decision together and rationalize it as much as you can and move on to the next one.
Yeah, make sure you're on the same page, because, again, the business may fail, but the relationship has to be, I think, the most important thing. Because that's got to survive no matter what. Because you can live to fight another day, but you got to live to fight another day as a couple.
Right.
Otherwise you're out there fighting by yourself, and it's a different life. But so you got to make sure that that's the most important thing, and the business is always secondary, because you can always make more money, but you can't always find that person that you're in the trenches with. That's that's finding gold. Whereas a business is just a thing that makes money. It's a mechanism that makes money. And then there's lots of mechanisms that make money, but there's not a lot that where you can get a partner that you work with and you live with and you do everything with, and that's a trick. That's a 1 in a million shot. So you already have that. So make sure you maintain that over any success or failure you might have.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Yeah. So with that, we appreciate you guys listening and watching, or both, as always. Remember to subscribe to the podcast, successmoneymarriage.com. We'll send you an email every week so you don't miss a single episode of Dawn's Genius Wisdom. With
That would be worth signing up right there.
That's worth signing up
Oh my
right
goodness,
there.
you never said
Genius,
that.
amazing.
Wait, Henry, wait, you'll see our subscribers start to go
Getting
up.
steak for dinner tonight. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.
Bye-bye.